The best e-commerce content systems are built around refresh triggers, not editorial calendars. Why calendars keep content moving, but triggers keep it useful. Triggers keep e-commerce content aligned with current shopper needs. A content calendar can make a team feel organized while the site quietly drifts out of date. That's the trick, really. The queue looks healthy, the deadlines get met, and the copy still tells yesterday's story. Refresh triggers solve a different problem. They tell you when a page needs attention because the product changed, the search demand shifted. Or shoppers started asking a question, the page no longer answers cleanly. That difference matters in e-commerce, where the catalog changes faster than most teams can keep up. A store can publish on schedule and still ship stale sizing notes, outdated care instructions, or a buying guide that does not reflect what is actually for sale. Lean teams feel this first. The calendar creates the appearance of control because the work is visible, but visibility isn't accuracy. A page can be on plan and still be wrong, in our experience. Almost every brand we work with has a solid content strategy, but not enough bandwidth to execute it. Blog production depends on one or two people, publishing becomes inconsistent, and high-intent search opportunities sit uncaptured for months. The strategy is rarely the gap. A trigger-based system keeps attention on the pages that are failing in the real world. One page may need a quick line edit after a material swap. Another may need a complete overhaul because the old advice no longer fits the product line. That's the real job of maintenance, catching drift before it becomes a pattern. The calendar can keep the rhythm. Triggers decide what deserves the next beat. What counts as a refresh trigger in e-commerce? A useful trigger points to a specific page and a specific action. Good triggers fall into a few clear buckets: product changes, search performance changes, customer behavior changes, and outside visibility changes. Each one tells you something different about whether a page still matches reality. Product changes are the most obvious. A fabric swap on a jacket page, a new sizing chart for a shoe collection, or a discontinued item in a bundle means the copy. Imagery and specs need immediate review. Search performance changes show that the page is losing ground. If a guide that once ranked for a term like best backpack for carry-on starts slipping, the content may no longer match the query, or competitors may be more current and better aligned with search intent. Customer behavior changes are just as useful. A return policy update that drives a flood of support questions should trigger every help article tied to that policy. A spike in "does this run small" comments should send you back to the fit section on the relevant pages. Outside visibility changes happen when the rest of the web stops reflecting what your site said last month. A marketplace listing, a retailer mention, or a third-party article can keep repeating an old detail. And that mismatch usually shows up in customer confusion before it appears in analytics. A trigger has to be specific enough to act on. Check content sometime is a wish. The waterproof claim changed on SKU 2841. Inspect the product page and the comparison chart is a work item. The best triggers are observable and repeatable. If the same event happens twice and leads to an identical review, you've built a system rather than relying on judgment alone. There's also a difference between page-level triggers and site-wide ones. A new colorway for one SKU affects one product detail page, while a return policy change touches every help article, every shipping note, and every FAQ that mentions returns. That distinction keeps the team from wasting time. One signal should not send everyone hunting through the entire site when only one category or one cluster of related pages actually needs work. It earns its keep because it is tied to business reality. When the page changes, shopper behavior shifts, or outside references change, the content has to catch up. Product changes should force the first review. Product changes should trigger immediate content review. Product content goes stale faster than most blog content because e-commerce teams change the thing itself all the time. Materials shift, dimensions get revised, bundles change, variants disappear, shipping rules get adjusted, and availability moves around with little warning. That means product changes should be the first review trigger in the queue. If the product truth moved, the content around it needs to move too. The obvious triggers are easy to spot. New variants, discontinued colors, changed dimensions, reformulated ingredients, changed compatibility, and updated care instructions. A hoodie that used to come in 3 colors now comes in 2. A supplement changes its formula. A phone case no longer fits the latest device model. Each one changes what the page should say. Different page types need different fixes. Product detail pages should have the specs and claims aligned. Comparison pages need the feature table updated. Buying guides need the recommendation logic checked. FAQ pages need the questions and answers rewritten, so support does not spend the next month cleaning up the mess. Old claims are dangerous because they spread. Support teams repeat them. Marketplaces echo them. And AI systems pull from whatever text they can find. So one stale sentence can keep showing up long after the catalog changed. That's how a harmless-looking line turns into a customer service problem. A shopper reads one version, a partner page repeats another, and the brand ends up explaining why the box does not agree with the site and the listing. The rule should be simple. If the product truth changed, every page that depends on that truth gets reviewed before the next publish cycle. This is where trigger thinking pays off quickly. A calendar waits for the next slot. A trigger sends the team straight to the pages that need to stay aligned with the catalog. Search console decay is a trigger, not a mystery. Search console decay tells you when relevance is slipping. Search console gives you a clear signal that a page has started to slip. Falling clicks, shrinking impressions. A lower average position or a narrower mix of queries all point to the same thing. The page is losing relevance for the searches it used to catch in e-commerce. That usually shows up first on a buying guide or category page that once pulled steady traffic for. A term like best running shoes for flat feet. Then competitors publish fresher fit notes, clearer comparison tables, or more specific answers about width and pronation, and your page starts to fade. The content still exists, but searchers stop choosing it. Watch the pages that still earn impressions but no longer win the same click share. That pattern usually means the snippet has gone stale, the answer is buried, or another result looks more useful at a glance. A title that once felt specific can start reading like a generic label after everyone else in the SERP gets sharper. In the audits we run, the most valuable decay signal is often a page that retains impressions while losing clicks. It tells us demand still exists, but the result no longer looks like the best answer. That usually gives the team a more focused fix than starting a full rewrite. Set review thresholds around performance, then check pages when behavior changes. If a guide loses a meaningful share of clicks over a month, or if a collection page drops in query variety while impressions hold steady, that page should move up the queue. Quarterly audits are fine for housekeeping, but they're too slow for search behavior that changes week by week. That's the point of a trigger system. Search data assigns the work, and the calendar keeps the team on a steady rhythm so nothing sits untouched for too long. Support tickets reveal where content is failing. Repeated support questions expose content gaps. Support inboxes are one of the fastest ways to find weak content. When the same question keeps showing up, the page is missing an answer, the wording is unclear, or the information is out of date. The pattern is easy to spot in e-commerce. Shoppers ask whether a shirt runs small when the shipping cutoff hits for Friday delivery. How long returns take, whether a chair needs assembly, what the warranty covers, or if a charger fits a specific device. If those questions keep repeating, the content is doing extra work for the customer service team. Ticket spikes matter most when they cluster around one page, one product family, or one policy article. A flood of "does this come in wide" messages on a footwear page points to a sizing gap. Repeated "can I return this after 30 days" questions on a returns page point to a structure problem. Because the answer isn't easy to find fast enough. Treat support volume as a content signal. When the same question comes up repeatedly, the page is hard to find or hard to trust. That friction costs time on both sides of the inbox. The operational move is simple. Update the page. Add the missing answer, and check whether the structure is causing the repeat contact. If a policy page keeps generating the same ticket, the fix belongs in the content before it belongs in the queue. This is where refresh triggers beat a content calendar again. The calendar can remind you to look, but support data tells you exactly where shoppers are getting stuck. AI citations change the refresh job. Clear, current pages are easier for AI systems to cite. AI answer systems tend to cite clear, well-organized pages. Easy to quote pages, especially when they are current. For e-commerce teams, the same product detail page or help article that serves search can also shape what gets surfaced in answer engines when shoppers ask about fit, materials, shipping windows, or compatibility. The practical question is simple. How do you make product and help content easier to cite? Start by checking whether the answer appears plainly in the opening copy, whether the key fact sits in a dense block where a model has to work for it, and whether the wording still matches the current policy or spec sheet. If the page says ships in 3 to 5 business days in one place and usually ships soon in another, the answer becomes harder to trust and easier to skip. Citation shifts can happen while rankings stay steady. A page can hold position in search and still lose attention in answer systems if a newer source states the same fact more clearly. This matters for stores with product comparisons and shipping pages, because shoppers often ask about those pages when they want a fast, direct response. When citations move away from a page, inspect the wording first. Check for buried facts, stale policy language, missing context around variants or exclusions, and old phrasing that no longer matches what the store actually does. If a help article about mattress returns still uses last season's policy, answer engines will drift toward fresher content. The larger lesson is accuracy. AI visibility depends on the same thing customers need: a page that states the current truth cleanly, with enough structure for a machine to quote it without guessing. That makes citations another refresh trigger. Search behavior and ticket volume both point to the same workflow. Update the pages that have started to fall behind and let the calendar handle the rest. What to do when a trigger fires? Every trigger needs a clear next action. A trigger should push a page owner into a simple decision tree: refresh, merge, retire, or leave it alone after review. The goal is to make fast, informed decisions. If every alert turns into a debate, the system becomes noise. A refresh is the right move when the core page still earns its keep and only part of it has gone stale. A changed ingredient list, a sizing note that no longer matches the product. To learn more, visit heysprite.com today.